Richard Sherman, he never minces words or shies away from a microphone. Stephen A. isn't the only one not feeling Thursday night football. Sherm, what do you think of it?
Poopfest. It's terrible. This is, we played, freaking got home like 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that on Monday, and then you got to play again. I mean, congratulations, NFL. You did it again. But they've been doing it all season, so I guess we're the last ones to get the middle finger.
So the Seahawks host the Rams this Thursday after playing at Green Bay on Sunday afternoon. Jeff, Saturday in the house. Always good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to start with Stephen A. here, though. Stephen A., do you love or hate his comments?
Well, I love him. I did. I don't want to be a hypocrite here because there's times weeks ago where I said he's got to watch what he's always saying about the NFL. They're still the shield and what have you, and you got to pick your battles. But on this particular issue, he's absolutely on the money. I agree 1,000% with Richard Sherman. I love his comments. Thursday night football is garbage. It's an absolute travesty. I can't stand it. I despise it. I hate it because I think about the players, which is obviously something that a lot of people aren't thinking about. I think about the quality of football that we see on Thursdays compared to what we see on Sundays. And for the most part this year, it's been abysmal to say the least. And I don't think there's any denying that. When you couple that with the fact that guys are telling you that they're more prone to injury, and then add to that the hypocrisy on the part of the NFL who says they're concerned about player safety, then it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's clearly a money grab. It's additional dollars for the league. They'll throw a few pennies in the direction of the players to sit up there and say, hey, look at the money that you're getting. See why we should do this? But there are ways to get around this. At the end of the day, you can't have somebody playing on a Sunday night and then being ready to play Thursday and think they're not going to suffer. It's going to be a diluted product. It's going to be less than the quality of football patrons are accustomed to paying for. And it just shows the hypocrisy of the NFL and how it's a money grab. I have always hated Thursday night football. I hate it still. And I think anybody who loves it is thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about the players. And they're certainly not thinking about quality football because we don't see too much of it on Thursdays.
Richard Sherman's absolutely right. I love his comments. The NFL is being hypocritical. The NFL cares. I never knew why sports leagues felt that they needed to sell that so hard with a heartbeat and they're getting into the community. I mean, it's great that they do, but fans of those teams really just care about their teams being good and they want to see good competitive games, etc. And Thursday night football has been garbage for most of the year. I love it because it's better than nothing. I get to watch a football game. There are ways, I think, to make it better. You know, maybe start it when the bye week kicks in and only for the teams coming off their bye, because then they get Thursday to the following Sunday, so they're never on short rest. In fact, it's long rest both times. There are things that, so you have to cut down on the number of Thursday night football games, not ditch it entirely. There are things that can be done to make it better for player safety. But I want to talk about the hypocrisy of the NFL, because that's really what Richard Sherman is pointing to here. The reason business needs to be regulated, businesses need to be regulated, period, is not because they're malicious. It's not because businesses are immoral. Really, morality has nothing to do with it. Businesses are amoral. It's not about doing the right thing or the wrong thing. That's all window dressing. The NFL cares and everything's all nonsense. Businesses are, the nature of it is to make money. Period. That's what a business is there to do. And if it turns out being a good influence, great. If it turns out having a detrimental effect at times, it's really not germane to what it is. And I'll go back to a National Geographic metaphor, because I used the crocodile and the wildebeest last segment. It's like getting mad at a shark because it tried to eat you. That's what a shark does. It's hungry. That's all it knows. Morality does not come into the equation. So Richard Sherman is right to point out the hypocrisy, no doubt about it. And this is why there needs to be regulation, or in this case, maybe a harder fought collective bargaining agreement between the players' union and the league. But that's all it is, really. He's pointing out the hypocrisy because when they say they care, they're lying. Caring is not an issue. It's not that they don't care. It's not that they care to hurt the players. It's that that's not what's at issue here. What's at issue is making money, and they'll change it if they think their bottom line could be affected.
I couldn't agree with either more. I mean, as you look at what Richard Sherman says from a player's perspective, I fully agree with Richard Sherman. Yeah, I love his phrase. I don't know if I would have picked it out, but the Poopfest is comical, right? Because what he's saying is real. When you get home at 1 o'clock in the morning, your body's still on that, he's in Green Bay time. Now he's out in Seattle. What's he got to do to prep? Think about the other team come in. You never know who you're going to play. All of those things come into play. And when you talk about player safety and health and safety, it's not only about the quality of play on Thursday. Stephen A., you brought up a good point, right? Is it bad football? But there's bad football on Sundays as well. So, owners can make that argument. Well, there's bad teams that play bad teams or teams play poorly. We can't just take that as an excuse. But the issue with Thursday, it's not just are you more prone to get an injury, it's can you compete? I mean, some guys have money tied up in contracts of how many games you play. Well, if you come off a game on Sunday and Sunday night and you get home at 1 and then you can't play Thursday, but you could have played Sunday, now that goes back into your contract. There's a lot of things that go into play from a player perspective. It's not just about, hey, how good is the quality of the team? And to your point, and I've played many Thursday night games, you do shrink your offense and defensive package because you can't do as much. You can't install as much. You can't watch as much film. All of those things come into play. And even if you can watch it all, you can't get out there and script it and go through it because guys' bodies aren't responding. I mean, you think in the NFL, most guys who get rest, they get rest on Wednesday or Thursday practices. And so now you're asking a guy, instead of getting a normal rest day, he may get a full game day. And so all of those things come into play. And also, it's funny how all these things lay out. Players, as they get on in their career, this is when it becomes a bigger deal because now you realize you're not ready to go on Tuesday like you were your first 3 or 4 years. Now in year 7, 8, and beyond, man, it hurts, right? I mean, you're only 60, 70% come Thursday, and you know what that's going to do. So maybe your coverage has to change, or maybe your blocking scheme has to change a little bit. But all of those things, it's not just about quality of play. It is about health and safety. Now, the NFL, I'm sure, will give you numbers of you're not more prone to get injured on a Thursday than a Sunday and blah, blah, blah. And we know how statistics can be manipulated no matter which side is trying to use it. But ultimately, it puts much more pressure on guys trying to play through things to make sure they do come up to that 70% start or whatever that number is in your contract. Or if you're on the active roster, you get X amount of dollars. And again, all of those things may sound silly to people outside of the game, but in the NFL, that may be how your salary is scripted. If you catch so many balls, if you have so many of these bonuses tied into your contract, missing a Thursday night game that you could have played on that Sunday, that would be devastating. And those are the things that players talk about. When we come off, it's not, hey, we want to mess the fans up or we don't want to have a good time, all those things. We do care about the communities we live in. We do care about the fans who come and participate and pay our salaries, for lack of a better term. What we have to do is protect ourselves because, Max, to your point, the league is not going to do it. We are widgets, right? We can be replaced really quickly. It's just moving on. Well, they know the next crop is coming in. So I understand it from their side as well about it is a bottom line business, but when it's collectively bargained the way it is, this is the things that players, if it's that big a deal, that you have to collectively stand up together and make a statement.
The other thing that I think it's important to mention is that I understand that we're trying to be fair here to some degree and make sure that everybody plays on a Thursday night because of how it just compromises your quality of life and all that. But damn that, it's national television. Right. And if you stink, you shouldn't be allowed on the air, plain and simple. I'm looking at the Thursday night schedule. I remember the Texans getting shut out by the Patriots in week 2 with Jimmy Garoppolo quarterbacking.
So
for some reason, I remember the Dolphins stunk up the joint because they didn't show up ready to play against Cincinnati. What the hell are the San Francisco 49ers doing on Thursday night television? How about the Cleveland Browns? What the hell are they doing on Thursday night television? How about the Chicago Bears on October 20th? What the hell is Jay Cutler doing on local television, let alone national television? These are the Jacksonville Jaguars were on Thursday night football. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
You're talking about entertainment and quality of the play.
Stop with your philosophizing. You know as well as I do that you just can't. It's just about what it is.
Here's the bottom line.
That's not what people want to see.
Here's the bottom line. Of course, we all want it to be as safe as possible for the athletes, and none of us hope that bad things happen to the athletes. But this goes for football, it goes for boxing, it goes for MMA. let's stop pretending that primarily we care about the safety of the athletes.
Right.
Primarily, we care about being entertained. And if we
Absolutely.
really cared about the safety of athletes, we wouldn't support playing football or fighters boxing or getting in the octagon. These are dangerous sports. There will be physical repercussions, and we care more about, culturally, we care more about being entertained by that show of violence than we do about the effects of the
Jeff
violence.
Saturday,
Period.
this is why I don't want. No, hold on, wait. This is why I don't like hearing this stuff from Max. This is why Max comes across as a flaming hypocrite when he brings up this particular subject. Let Max go to let Max get on a plane and fly to Vegas for a fight, and let it
doing it
be
in LA.
on. Hold on. Let it be on 2 weeks' notice,
Right.
or let it be, when some guy's eating burgers and all of this other stuff. And then, oh, by the way, you got to fight next week. Max would raise holy hell because they weren't
true.
put in a position to be in peak condition.
That's
But
exactly
here, when
right.
it comes to football, oh, you know what you signed up for. Stop it.
Yeah,
Just stop
it's-
it. You want
well,
us
I
in
mean,
peak
do it
condition.
off a bye
You
with
want them in
Jeff.
peak
Yeah,
condition.
Jeff.
Max, you can't
Yeah.
put those in the same category because the length of time
Thank
you
you.
get to prepare. Listen, when you know you're finishing at Sunday night or Monday morning at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning when you get home and you got to turn around, that is not the same.
I get it, but
doesn't-
Jeff,
and especially
answer this.
week 14, 15, 16. Think of the attrition that's going on in your body from training camp on. You
No,
can't
Max don't
compare
care
that.
about
It
that.
is violent.
I get it.
Max don't
People
care
might
about
enjoy
that.
that.
Even
but
late
right
in the
now,
season,
we got to figure something out.
Late in the season, even Sunday to Sunday, that happens. I mean, even if you have a week, it's tough. You see the attrition affect teams late in the season. But Jeff, what I'm asking is, what's wrong with tweaking it? Maybe you get rid of some Thursday games, but only teams coming off a bye play the Thursday game.
Listen,
Aren't there ways to do it?
I'm all
Well, that's
for
what we're
changing the
talking
system
about.
and figuring people out and figuring that out. Here's what we do know. We do know that the NFL, the league set it up so the NFL network could provide games. It ended up obviously not working and not moving the needle for them because then they tried to sell it to 2 different networks, right? Nobody wants it. It's a tough sell. It's obviously not making money. Players don't like it. So we either need to switch it, get rid of it, or figure out something else to make this thing
I like
work.
watching games on Thursday.
And every team plays on Thursday night, so of course that's why we're going to get teams like the Browns and the Jags. So
Which is what I said. That don't mean they deserve it. But go
Speaking of
ahead.
the Poopfest, to quote Richard Sherman, it's the Rams at Seahawks this week, of course, without Jeff Fisher.
I don't have a definition for it, but you'll know it when you see it. It's kind of like a definition I heard one time of another issue, trying to define a negative topic, and they said, I don't know how to say it, but it's just something that when you see it, you know it's there. We'll see it. Given the need for him, we want him ready on the spur of the moment to be a part of any effort we make to be tried to win the ball games. And so it would be when we all probably thought it was time for him to come in and play. I don't want to give you those circumstances because I don't like either one of the discussion.
Stephen A., I know you love Jerry Jones. You sported the shirt, and in Jerry you trust. But please explain to me, why can't this man stop talking about Tony Romo?
Because he wants Tony Romo in the lineup, and he's willing to undermine Dak Prescott to do it. I think it's very, very clear. The more he talks about it, Jerry Jones is a brilliant businessman. He's a hype machine personified. Clearly, he wants the headlines, and certainly alluding to Romo makes it even more, there's more additional headlines that ultimately will come the Cowboys' way. But it's deeper than that to me when I listen to Jerry Jones. I see someone clamoring for Tony Romo. Now that Tony Romo clearly sees the future and sees the future of the Dallas Cowboys, recognizing that he's not going to be a part of it in all likelihood, not if he wants to be a starting quarterback, because Dak Prescott is the future. This is the end for Tony Romo in Dallas. Multiple back surgeries, collarbone issues, and beyond at age 36. This is it. Jerry Jones recognizes that the Dallas Cowboys have an opportunity to be Super Bowl champions, and he wants Tony Romo to be the guy who takes them there. So it's not like Dak's not the future. It's not like Jerry Jones doesn't believe in him. It's not like he's not going to look forward to Dak Prescott, guiding the Dallas Cowboys to prosperity in the years and years to come. But at this particular moment in time, he is clearly willing to undermine Dak Prescott in order to facilitate the resurgence of Tony Romo. And I suspect that Jerry Jones is not even the only one within the organization who feels this way. thinks this way and is hoping this will happen. I think there are others, possibly guys wearing the uniform, that want the same thing. The Dallas Cowboys, as far as I'm concerned, no matter how together they seem, they're a divided bunch when it comes to the Romo-Dak Prescott issue. And I think that Jerry Jones is illuminating that every time he opens his mouth.
Hey, Stephen A., let's just read between the lines here. When you say you think that's the case, is that because maybe a little birdie told you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I thought. Look, you got to read between the lines of Stephen A. When he says, I think, and then he tells you that half the team wants something, that's because he talks to a lot of people. Look,
I didn't say half the team, though. I didn't say, but some
people on the team.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know that this is that specific to Tony Romo in terms of Jerry Jones popping off about it. You know, Jerry Jones likes to be called coach. He enjoys that. He likes everyone to know how much he knows about football. He loves the culture of it, and he loves being thought of that way. And it's like getting mad at Jerry Jones for saying something he shouldn't. And let me be clear, he should shut up about Tony Romo at this point. I mean, enough. You're or better yet, keep talking, because you're undermining your team's chances. And I'm a Giants fan, so keep talking. If I were a Cowboys fan, I would just say, please, Jerry Jones, please shut up. Please stop talking. But he can't help himself, and asking him to do that because he likes the attention. Asking him to do that is like asking a lion not to eat, or a crocodile not to eat a wildebeest. That's what the crocodile does. It's not like a moral issue. He doesn't really have a choice. He's hungry. He's going to eat that wildebeest. Or actually, in Jerry Jones' case, it's more like telling the wildebeest, hey, don't go to the edge of that river because there are crocodiles in it. Wildebeest can't help it. It's thirsty. It's got to go, even though it knows it might get eaten by a crocodile. And that's what Jerry Jones is, a thirsty wildebeest.
Well, you could say he's thirsty, but the reality is that it goes far deeper than that. And the reason why it goes far deeper than that is because you have a rookie. Now, granted, Dak Prescott has shown tremendous poise. He seems to be an old soul, mature beyond his years. And even though I can't stand the Dallas Cowboys because they have the worst fan base in American history, they're delusional and they're annoying and obnoxious and I can't stand them, it doesn't take away from the fact that Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott have been incredibly impressive. I'm proud of these young brothers, and I wish them nothing but the best, so long as they don't win the Super Bowl, because I can't stand their fan base, and I don't want to hear their mouth for the next year. But the flip side to all of that is, if you're Dak Prescott, you're still a rookie. No matter what your performance belies, it's who you are. And to be so incredibly insensitive to this man, with what he's doing, and riding those coattails and being enthusiastic and supportive of him. And instead, what you do is you give lip service or you articulate the obvious, while at the same time making sure that everybody knows what your true wish is. And that true wish is not Dak Prescott. It's incredibly insensitive. I would dare say it's unprofessional, but I would also say it's emblematic of who the Dallas Cowboys are and have been since Jerry Jones arrived. Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones together won 3 championships in 4 years. We recognize that. Jerry Jones was on a mission to prove that he was worthy, that he deserved more credit than Jimmy Johnson, who clearly was disrespectful towards him, refused to give him. All right. And ever since then, getting Barry Switzer, ultimately getting that 3rd Super Bowl title. But some would argue that was with decisions that Jerry and Jimmy made. Jerry has been on a mission to prove that he deserves credit for all of this. It is now 21 plus years and counting. He has failed to do it, and he will fail again.
That's
just
exactly
because of stuff like this.
I don't know if he'll fail again this year. Maybe. I hope
He
so.
will.
I really hope.
He will
I
not
hope he
win the
fails.
Super
I
Bowl
hope you're
this
right
year.
about
He
that.
will not win the Super Bowl this year.
I hope you're right. I don't think they will either, but they have a good a chance as any.
Hell with them.
They're the odds-on
No.
favorite in the opinion of some. Entertain this thought for a second. I agree with that analysis you just said. Entertain this thought for a second. What if the fact is that there are coaches and players on the Dallas Cowboys who, when they watch game film, when they watch the coaches' film, they see things that Dak isn't seeing. They believe that Romo would see them. And whether or not they're correct about it, they genuinely believe that even though it would be unpopular because the team is 11-2 with Dak Prescott, it would actually increase their chances of winning a Super Bowl if they put Romo in. If you can entertain that thought, Stephen A. Smith, and you think that's possible, then that sheds a different kind of light on what Jerry Jones is doing. As wrong-headed as it might be, if that's the case, then he's doing it because he actually believes it.
Well, here's why I would disagree with you, because I sometimes joke and call you Spock Kellerman because you're logic. You're logical, and because you're logical, you look at it from that perspective. It's not that you're wrong, it's that you're incomplete. Because when we talk about sports, we don't just talk about numbers. We also talk about results. And when we talk about results, we talk about what assists towards those results. Sometimes it is numbers, but a lot more often than not, it's not just numbers, it's cohesion, it's chemistry, it's togetherness, it's a flair, it's a vibe, it's a swag, it's all of those things that come with it. Intangibles that contribute to elevating one's ability and the collective forces around them, galvanizing the troops, bringing them together and spearheading them to prosperity. These are the kind of things that happen in sports all the time. The owners tell us this, the executives tell us this, and certainly the coaches, the coaching staff, and the players tell us this. So to throw all of that out the window because you love Tony Romo so much, and he looks a bit better than Dak Prescott, the rookie, may look. I understand Max Kellerman saying that, but there is no excuse on earth for the Dallas Cowboys to be articulating that position in the throes of Dak performing the way he's performing.
Hold on, because I actually believe that Dak should be the quarterback because of everything you just said, because of all that kind of conventional sports and football wisdom, particularly in football. But there are those who would say, who work in the industry, which is why I'm sure the team is divided about this, that you can't get too caught up in the results. You can't get too caught up in the correlation between one guy starting under center and wins. If you believe that in spite of that correlation, in terms of the causal relationship of the quarterback to the success, it would be better to have another guy back there. Then it actually takes courage to suggest that. Now, my own analysis of the situation is don't mess with this if you're Dallas. But that might not be everybody's.
All right, guys, we got to leave it there.